Oops, wrong one. Hey everybody, and welcome back to Split Couch Games. I'm Scott. Did I fucking freeze already?
Uh, no, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Well, you didn't. You just say hi. I'm Ben.
Oh, well then yes, you did.
Okay.
So,
Fantastic.
I'm
Looking,
Ben. Hi.
looking great. Oh my god. Okay.
Like you said you were playing the intro and I was like, okay, cool. So I was like waiting for you to do your thing.
Okay. So, fair warning for everyone. We're having some issues.
Funding for me. Oh,
Oh
wait.
my god. Okay, this is gonna be a shit podcast. I blame Steve for being here. Um, Thanks for making it out, Steve. But we're having some internet lag issues where we keep freezing
Which,
for each other.
yeah, which is hilarious because if you look at our, connection information and everything through Discord, according to me, it's fine. There are like some spikes every now and then, but like that's it.
Yeah, I yeah I don't know. Anyway, maybe it'll magically be fine for most of it. Just if you stop hearing me speak when I in the middle of a sentence, just like hold up a finger and let me know. And yeah. Anyway, um, so we got a couple things that we want to. Oh my fucking god.
There we go. Go, 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 go. You're back.
Dear God. All right. Anyway, so we're gonna talk a little Star Wars. EA canceled another game, and another Star Wars game, and then we're gonna talk a little Battlefield. I think we have some positive things to say about Battlefield, so I think we'll start with Star Wars and end on a positive note to get everyone started on their Saturday mornings. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So sounds.
Uh.
You said we're gonna start with the canceled Star Wars game. Yes.
Yeah.
You were cutting in and out that entire time. So
Oh my God, this is the worst. Yeah, that's what I said.
okay, cool.
All right.
Um. Why don't you start and then I will go and
All right.
we may or may not say the exact same thing. It depends on how much I hear.
Yeah. So anyway, so for those who don't know, what was the studio that they shut down their game?
I don't. I honestly don't even know who they moved it to. I can't remember. I know that Visceral was
Right.
working on it back before they, took that project away and closed the studio.
Yeah.
But
Anyway, so they shut down the game. It was supposed to be an open world RPG, I believe. It was open world, most
it
likely an
is something like
RPG.
that. Yeah.
Um, I think the rumor is that EA was like, this doesn't fit our marketing or game monetization model where we sell you microtransactions. So, fuck you, we're closing it. And that sparked a bunch of outrage because everyone's at this point feeling like EA shouldn't be in control of Star Wars games anymore. And for those who don't know, similar to how Sony owns the license for Spider-Man and Fox owns the rights for X-Men, and that's why they're never in any of the Marvel movies or the MCU movies, except for now Spider-Man is because cooperation finally happened.
Woo!
Which turns out it made really good Spider-Man movies or Spider-Man character. Anyway, um, but EA has the license, and I don't think anyone knows what the exact details of that license are, like whether. But if it's anything like Sony's license for Spider-Man, they have to do to maintain that license is create content like for Spider-Man it was create a movie like every 5 years, which is why we got all the Spider-Man reboots. Um, and EA probably has the same thing, and that's why Battlefront is now a thing, and that could realistically be the only Star Wars series that we get.
Yeah.
Because again, like if it's anything like the Sony deal with Marvel, they don't actually owe any more money on it. They just have to keep creating it, or else they'll lose the license.
Yeah. I can't. fully remember, but I think I was watching like the No, their video that talked about this,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they said that they have exclusivity rights until like 2022 or something.
Okay.
Um, I don't know how accurate that is. I would imagine since it was the No that it's accurate, but again, I honestly can't even completely remember if that's who I was watching.
Okay.
So don't like take my word as gospel there, but
Yeah.
that's obviously, at this point only another 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think it's super shitty that they completely canned that one game. Um,
Well, when you say
I'm
it's only
I'm
three
not
years,
shocked.
right? When you say it's only 3 years, it's not
Well, yeah,
only
that
three
really
years.
means like 6 or 7
Yeah,
because yeah,
because there's like negotiate, then make, and yeah. So
yeah, yeah, it's not great. Um,
yeah.
and I there's a small part of me that wonders if at this point Disney's considering some sort of like
Buyout.
yeah, or something,
Mm-hmm.
like they back out of the contract and maybe that means they have to pay a fee to EA or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I mean, obviously we're not privy to the details of the contract, but um, if I were Disney, I would definitely be considering that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you've seen this meme or not, but I saw one earlier this week on like Wednesday or something.
Yeah, yeah. I think you tweeted it out. But yeah,
I did. I don't think I did. No.
or you retweeted it, or anyway, tell me which one it is because it might be a different
Maybe.
one than I'm thinking.
It was the one where it was like 4 years of
Yeah.
Star Wars games. Yeah, like with LucasArts and third-party studios, and
Yeah.
there was like 10 games, and then it was 4 years of Star Wars games through just EA, and it was the two Battlefront games, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you feel unsatisfied with that number of games?
I feel extremely unsatisfied because they're basically the same game, and neither of them are all that great. I don't feel like they're necessarily terrible, but
Yeah.
they're not as good as what they could have been. They're basically like the Battlefield franchise, but for kids, which is exactly what I was afraid of when EA took over the franchise and everything.
Yeah.
Um,
All right. Hold on. I got the meme here.
cool. You're gonna
So
slap it up.
kind of. It's gonna. Here. Let's see if
It's
I
gonna
can.
cover your face.
Yeah. I think I can. Oh. Whoops. Whoops. Hold.
It's covered both of our faces now.
Yeah. Uh. Hold on. We're, professional podcasting 101, boys. Let's get it. Okay. So anyway, so as you can see, it was tweeted out. I don't think he's the only one who came up with it, Mr. Robot Brush on Twitter. But Star Wars games over a 4-year period under LucasArts from 2002 to 2006. Look at all those games. Um, got your classics like Knights of the Old Republic. Got Republic Commando. This Star Wars: The Clone Wars
Battlefront.
was fun as shit, by the way. Um, and had cheats and all that. It was a fun time.
Yeah, pretty much all of those games had cheats
Yeah.
because that was back when those were still a thing.
All right, now we go to under EA, and oh, okay. I don't have a way to actually show the bottom of it, but it's basically the two Battlefront games. And then I liked your response to that tweet by saying when you said "Cries and Jedi."
Yeah, Cries and Jedi.
Yeah. All
Oh,
right.
but
And
yeah, I'm just disappointed more than anything the fact that it's been canceled and everything. So
yeah. I like Steven's comment. EA equals ending apathetically.
ending games
I
apathetically,
like
yeah.
but yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's. Yeah, it's a terrible situation when you have such a like rich universe and only one group can create content for it.
Yeah.
And I mean, we even you kind of even see that with Disney, like just the old extended universe that is now Star Wars Legacies, where all of this amazing content from all these different writers was just
Thrown
basically
away.
destroyed. Like
Yeah.
this doesn't matter. I mean, you can still read it, and we'll still take your money, but it's not actually official canon. So, kind of like, what's the point?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and then Disney came out with Augusto and started releasing Star Wars movies like every weekend, and people were like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa!" A little too much Star Wars. Did you ever see the Solo movie?
Nope.
It's on Netflix. It's it's a thing. It's not terrible.
I mean, I
It it's not as bad as it could be, but it has one of the worst moments in cinematic history. But it's fine.
I mean, so to start, like the reason that I never went and saw it in theaters was because I could tell from the previews that I wasn't going to enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was primarily because, eh, at least from the previews, they seemed to be focusing on the parts of Han Solo that everyone like stereotypically identifies him with.
Like,
Like the is super cocky, sure of himself badassery. Like they made him into what everyone stereotypes him as, and they again haven't seen it,
mm-hmm,
so
mm-hmm.
basing it off the trailers.
Yeah,
um Whereas Han is a much more complex character in the movies, because like he acts that way, sure, but
yeah,
like you can always tell just looking at him that like he doesn't know that this is going to work. He's kind of afraid he's going to die, but he's
mm-hmm.
doing it anyways because he can. And I didn't get any of that from the previews, and I was like, you're turning Han Solo
Mm.
into a character that I no longer like, so I'm not going to watch the movie. And I don't know if that actually is how it panned out.
That's
Like,
not how it pans out. He actually it's the Han Solo character is fairly true to the original, in my opinion.
okay,
Like, cause he is like I don't want to spoil anything, but a lot of the things he tries go wrong. So, like, it's again not a great movie. Like, I'm not like, dude, what the fuck you doing? Let's end the podcast and go watch it right now. It's not that kind of thing. But it was not the most terrible movie I've ever seen. Did have one of the worst moments in cinematic history though, because I don't know if I don't know, you may have heard, but they tell you how Han Solo got his name,
um,
which I
yeah,
don't know if
I heard that. I don't.
I think you were probably wondering real hard about that. Like,
I wasn't.
why
I
is he
assumed that was
called Han
just
Solo?
his name. Like,
You're not alone.
I didn't think that needed any explaining.
It felt Disney felt like it needed to explain it, so they explained it
Cool.
in one of the worst ways imaginable.
You know what? I'm probably not gonna watch it anytime soon, most likely. So why
Oh,
don't you just go ahead and tell me?
but you should like it. Okay, so anyway, it's pretty early in the movie. It's like because they kind of like they do it and then they like go to the title because
Yeah.
they're movie geniuses over there at Disney. Um, so he has to do this like whole like escape scene, and then like he escapes, and then it cuts to a thing where he joins the he's talking to a recruiter for the Imperial Army. He wants to be a pilot, and so he's talking to the recruiter, and he's like, "My name is Han," and the recruiter's like, "Okay, what's your people name?" And he's like, "I don't have people," and then like the recruiter looks off into the distance and ponders it, and he's like, "No people. Solo, and then types in Han Solo into the computer, and that's how Han Solo got his name.
Wow.
Just the look on your face. It's so good.
No.
And like, look, I'm not embellishing any of that. Like, that is what happened.
I I didn't even like I don't anywhere else in the Star Wars universe do they refer to it as a people name?
Well, they don't really refer to last names at all.
I mean, they use them a lot,
Yeah.
but they don't like label them. So it's really weird that they call it that as if like
Yeah.
in this universe everyone's part of some fucking tribe, and if you
Yeah.
don't have a tribal name then
Yeah. Look, man, I don't
that
know. I like look, again, one of the worst cinematic moments in movie history. Like, just absolutely terrible. Um but overall it was a semi decent movie. It starts off okay, gets a little like murky, gets a little bit better, and then gets a little bit murky towards the end, and then like kind of ends on a high note. And then like then some comes out of left field, and you're like, what the fuck? I'm happy about it, but everyone else is like, what the fuck?
are you talking about the
Yeah, I'm talking
the
about
the
that.
twist with the Millennium Falcon?
No, not that.
No.
No.
What are you talking about then?
Well, spoiler alert. Darth Maul shows up. It's like, some bitches.
Oh, all right. That's cool.
Yeah. And I'm like, hey, this doesn't make any goddamn sense, but all right, I'm in.
Is he there with like his robot legs and everything, or?
Robot legs and everything. That's how it be, man. Anyway, we got sidetracked off of the Star Wars games, but basically, like, the whole point of that was things seem to be going wrong with Star Wars. Like, I think that there's going to be a course correction of some kind, and I think that it's going to be good for everyone. Because I mean, Disney owns everything and kind of like makes very cookie cutter things for the most part. Um, very like you kind of have to hit these notes in the movie for them, like, and like it depends based like
Yeah.
what division, like their animation has like their set, Marvel has their set of rules and everything. So, um, and I think like maybe I don't watch a lot of Disney animated stuff, so like this probably doesn't include them. But I feel like most Disney movies are all good for the most part, but they don't have any like great movies recently. Because of that, like I mean, like Infinity War was really good, obviously, um,
I mean,
and like Black Panther was really good. Okay, Marvel's been killing it recently, but I don't know. You kind of see what I'm saying. Like, generally speaking, like a Disney movie is going to be good. Like, it's not going to be a terrible movie. Like, they don't have any misses. But I feel like,
I feel like in terms of uh, Disney stuff, and I'm not counting any of like the stuff that's on like the Disney Channel or anything, obviously, because I don't have cable.
they're making the live action Kim Possible movie. Get excited.
I heard about that.
It doesn't. It looks terrible.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
You and I can make something better
I
based off the trailer.
okay, okay.
Yeah,
Anyways,
it's bad.
but I mean, when it comes to like Star Wars and Marvel and all that kind of stuff that like adults would also still be interested in,
Hmm.
I don't necessarily feel like Disney has been misstepping at all, with the exception of the Han Solo movie. But again,
Hmm.
haven't seen it, but I also have no interest in seeing it, and
Hmm.
that's kind of a misstep in and of itself.
Hmm.
Um, for me, I feel like pretty much all of their movies have been pretty good. I fall into the minority, and I've actually been enjoying the new core trilogy of Star Wars films. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it has its moments for sure, but
Mm-hmm.
I know that a lot of people were upset with Last Jedi and
Yeah.
all that, and I don't fall into that camp, but
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's an entire conversation of, oh well, it didn't meet up to what I wanted it to be, and I'm like, okay, well, that's great for you. Turns
Yeah.
out that's not what this is about.
Yeah.
But I
I
don't.
think that they're. I mean, I don't want to get into it. I think we talked about this before on the podcast, like when it first came out or something.
Yeah,
But there are there were some bad choices in that movie, and I'm yeah, I don't know. I think that like objectively, like it's not a great movie. Um, I don't fault anyone for enjoying it, but like outside of like what I wanted, like it definitely wasn't what I wanted. Like, but I mean, a lot of movies aren't what I wanted them to be. Um, but I still enjoy like Into the Spider Verse. I don't know if you saw that.
I
Wasn't
did.
so good,
It was.
so good. It wasn't exactly what I expected it to be, but it was so freaking good. So like I'm okay with movies like surprising me, but I feel like I like objectively from a like filmmaking standpoint, I felt like there were a lot of missteps, and yeah. Anyway, um, yeah. So Star Wars games. I would be. I think we would be remiss to not say okay, Dream Star Wars game, Dream developer. I think we've talked about this before, but go for it.
um, I don't know because I honestly have trouble figuring out what I would want from a Star Wars game now.
Mm-hmm.
Just simply because most of the genres that I used to look forward to seeing an entry from in that regard
Mm-hmm.
are now dominated by a lot of other big players, and I don't know that they would necessarily be able to bring anything new to the table other than, hey, it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I think I said in the past that like another Knights of the Old Republic or something from BioWare would be cool, or
Yeah.
something a little more freeform and open world from like Obsidian
Mm-hmm.
would also be cool. But again, I don't know that they would be able to bring anything worthwhile to the table in that regard.
Yeah.
I feel like having, well, I feel like the game that got canceled, or the couple of games that were canceled within the last, like,
Mm-hmm.
what, 5 years, 10 years, however long.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, the Star Wars 1414 or whatever it was, the one that was about Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I feel like that one would have been super cool. And the one that was originally being developed by Visceral probably would have
Mm-hmm.
been really cool. And I say that just simply because it was still in the Star Wars universe, but it wasn't like, oh, by the way, you can be a Jedi.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I feel like at this point, going the non Jedi route would be the best thing that they could do in terms of game development, just because that
Interesting.
offers the most unique story potential.
Yeah.
Because the universe of Star Wars is so fleshed out and deep that like there are tons of avenues that have
Mm-hmm.
never been explored, because every single game, with the exception of like the clone trooper games and
Mm-hmm.
pod racing and like some of the offshoot titles,
Rogue
like every
Squadron.
single game, well, I mean, even that was still about like the main characters and in
Yeah.
some way shape or form the Jedi.
Yeah. They were so good though.
Yeah,
So much
like
fun.
I think it would be super cool if they kind of brought back the maybe not necessarily like a Boba Fett specifically, but like the bounty hunter, or just like general like scavenger type of character,
Mm-hmm.
and then turned it into a game about like having to deal with like the huts and how they're essentially the mob and that kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
and you know have a game rife with choices and everything like that.
Yeah.
It kind of put it on the same level as um what Cyberpunk 2077 is looking like it's going to be. I feel like
Yeah.
that would make a great Star Wars game,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't necessarily want just like another lightsaber fest.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind one, but I don't feel like that would be groundbreaking
Yeah.
or anything.
Yeah. Steve wants to know: do you mean non-Jedi or non-Force user? Uh,
Yeah, pretty much.
that was not
I
that
mean,
was not a yes. That was not a yes or no. That was an either or.
oh, well, non-force user, I guess. It
Yeah.
just simply because I understand the discrepancy there.
Mm,
I was being rather ubiquitous with my use of the
yeah.
term Jedi, and that essentially just meaning someone who uses a lightsaber and does the whooshy woos with the magic hands. Um, great descripters, I
No,
know.
that's perfect. That is exactly that is going on the Wikipedia page for Jedi. And
The whooshy woos with the magic hands.
yeah. They use a lightsaber and the whooshy woos with the magic hands, and that is a Jedi. Um, so I disagree. So I agree with you in principle, but I
Hmm.
think that because that Jedi aspect is so core to Star Wars at this point, when there is a new Star Wars game, I think that it needs to have that element to it, just to recapture that magic for a lot of people. I think that more people will be excited on the surface, on a surface level, for that, like, to like achieve that kind of power fantasy.
Yeah,
And like,
and
but I do think you're right that like once that's done, I think that opens up the door for more stories.
see, I almost feel the opposite of that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the right choice would be to come out. And I'm not saying that like Jedi and other Force users and everything can't be part of the game in some way.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe you have an acquaintance that you talk to or and do quests for or something, and they happen to be a representative of the Jedi Council. Like whatever. Um, but I feel like the right choice would be to come out and say like, hey, we can make a great game without all that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and then at that point you can go back to, okay, well now you have all the powers and are an unstoppable killing machine. Like I
Yeah.
personally would love another Jedi Knight game.
Mm-hmm.
I would love it,
Yeah.
but unless they come up with like some sort of new like combat system that's like super unique and engaging and everything, I don't know that that style of gameplay would
Mm-hmm.
necessarily be enough to sell me on buying that game.
Yeah. I completely get it. Yeah, I think like I feel like people would be more excited about like the standard idea, like in general, and like I mean, I think I'm with you in that like I would like to see like the other elements, but I feel like you and I are not the average consumer in that regard. Um,
Well, I feel like that's another part of Disney's problem right now is like who is their average consumer? Because like you have all these
yeah.
people that are older that are fans, but then they also have like the younger generation, so they're catering to two completely different audiences.
Yeah.
So I mean, I feel like people like you and me would be able to appreciate and enjoy something a little more adult, a little darker, and that kind of thing. That
Which
maybe doesn't have the Jedi, but
which
then like
is coming to HBO, and I'm super pumped. Have you heard anything about The Mandalorian?
no.
Oh, it's an HBO series directed by Jon Favreau. Um,
Hmm.
directed Iron Man, plays Lucky in the movies. Um,
Gotcha.
yeah, and he's done other stuff as well, but like yeah, so he's that's shooting or in pre-production. One of the other. There was a set
Gotcha.
image. It looks pretty dope. I'll pull that up. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah,
I vaguely remember seeing like something on Kotaku about how that was being made.
yeah,
Like a year ago, I think
yeah.
is when I saw that. So
I mean, look. So this isn't like a great image for it, but to kind of, whoops. All right, let's
what'd you
see.
do?
Hold on. There we go. So if you look at the stream, you can kind of
Looking
see
at stream.
what's the haps with the Mandalorian set photo. That is,
Yeah,
yeah, looks dope, and it's on HBO,
it,
so anything goes.
it that's true. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I feel like that's something that they're struggling with right now is that
Yeah,
they have an old audience and a new audience, and they expect and want different things.
yeah,
Um, like for me personally, when it comes to the new Battlefront games, part of the reason that I couldn't get into them was just simply because I feel like I don't know if it was the game engine or what, but there was too much of a disconnect between like when I would fire my gun and when I would get hit registers. Um,
So it wasn't hit
so
scan.
I don't know, and that's part of the problem. And it's been quite a while since I've played it,
Mm-hmm.
but the most fun that I had when playing Battlefront 2 was uh, the like hero fighting mode.
Yeah,
Um, that was the most entertaining aspect. The rest of the game was just kind of average.
yeah,
I felt like a lot of the maps were very heavily weighted towards one side or the other. Like there wasn't really a balance to the point where it's like, oh well, you know, either team could win. It's kind of a toss up. Like it was
yeah.
either you would be steamrolled or get steamrolled. And granted, that could happen on either side,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just it's kind of like one of those things where it's like once it starts, it doesn't stop. So unless like
Yeah.
you have a perfectly balanced game from the very beginning of the match,
Mm-hmm.
it just typically ends up with, you know, you're on defense. Oh, well, they have all these like expert level pilots and
Goodbye.
now you're dead.
Yeah. So that actually kind of leads me into what I wanted to talk about specifically with Battlefield 5. That kind of, and like I saw this video of Overwatch and Team Fortress 2 ex- explained with food. Um,
Okay.
it's so I forget the YouTube channel, which is gonna kill me. But if you look up, I've seen two videos from him now, and it's Overwatch or it's Hearthstone and um, Valve's card game.
Oh,
Um, explained with food, and Overwatch and Team Fortress 2 explained with food, and it it's an interesting. It's like the food doesn't really matter. It's just kind of like his shtick, but like
yeah.
um, but it's basically like he was explaining it as like in Overwatch, you want to win. Like this is one of his points. There was a few other points and whatnot, but in Overwatch you want to win. In Team Fortress 2, it's much more like you're just there to have a good time.
Uh-huh.
And so it brought me into, and it made me think of Battlefield and like how I feel about the Battlefield series. Um, when I play a multiplayer game, I really want to win.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel like when there's those large, 32 versus 32 game types, my impact on that win is so much smaller
Yeah.
than in like a smaller game type. And I felt like the Rush game, or like, it's called Rush, or no, that's
Are you talking about the
Frontlines, yeah,
played earlier?
yeah,
Yeah,
Frontlines.
Frontlines.
Where for those who don't know, it's there's a certain number of points. It starts with a neutral point. You fight to capture it. If you capture that one, then you move on to your opponent's side, basically your opponent's side of the map, and fight for another point, and then at the end you have to destroy 2 bombs. Depending on the map size, there's more points, less points, all that. But it's basically like there's like it's a tug of war game mode, right?
Yeah.
Um, and like I enjoyed it. Like granted, like when we played, like there was the bug that like the team sizes were smaller. Um, but I did
They
feel like
fixed that, by the way.
excellent. We should play that this week. And like even though I enjoyed the smaller games, I felt kind of bored at certain points that there wasn't enough action. Like I spent like a few minutes, like sometimes 1 or 2 minutes not seeing anyone. So but like I enjoyed it that like it was much more manageable. Everything was in front of me when we were playing. When you're playing team deathmatch or conquest or whatever, I feel like there's just too much happening, and I don't feel like as in control. Like maybe I'll get sniped across the map, or even if I put up like a really good score, I have 31 other teammates that might not put up a
Yeah.
good score. So, I felt like that particular point resonated with me, and that all being said, Frontlines is a great game type, and I love it. So I want to play more.
That's good because I would love to play more with you. And I have a blast in that game mode. I
Yeah.
played a little bit last night and
Well, thanks for the invite,
um
Ben.
well with you being constantly offline, I never know if you're actually online or what you're doing, so I just
Sure.
assume
I couldn't actually play last night. I was playing chess with him again, but you should shoot me a text.
All right, I'll do that from now on.
All right.
But anyways, I don't know if it was just because I only played like 2 games last night, and I wasn't really paying attention to
Well,
this
when you
until
say you play 2 games, that could be like 10 minutes or like 20, like 2 hours.
that's true. One of them was of a normal, understandable length. I think it was maybe like 20-30 minutes.
Okay.
And then the other one was another one of those like hour
Oh.
long fights and everything. We ended up losing in the end because like my squad was doing the best, and all of a sudden they were just like, all right, I've played this enough, fuck this, and bailed. So like I went from having a full squad of like really good players down to just me, and then it
Excellent.
ended up filling back up eventually, but at that point
It was never the same. Yeah.
yeah.
Tim showed up
But anyways,
right when we started talking about him. It was perfect timing. Yeah. Anyway.
But so last night, and I don't know if this is a bug across the entire game mode or if it was just in my last game of the evening when I actually noticed it and I was paying attention and everything. But like the objective part of my HUD elements was missing. So like how when you played at the top it would show you like all the points, the amount of time remaining, all that kind of stuff,
Yeah,
and
I
how
totally was
when
looking
you
at that.
walked but you at least knew it was there.
Sure.
Okay. And then like when you walk onto a point, like it'll pop up kind of like above middle of your screen with like the progress meter of you capturing the point and everything.
Yeah. I was paying attention to all of that.
You were useless.
I very
all,
specifically remember the progress meter. I don't remember the top UI part.
okay.
Maybe it was missing for
Well,
me, and that's why I was so bad.
all of that stuff was missing. So
Nice.
like I would go and I had no idea how much time was left in the game,
Yeah.
and I had zero indication of any capture progress. So I would have to like physically look at the flagpole in order to determine who was capturing it and how far along they were.
That's awesome. Yeah, and so for those who don't know, Tim and Steve most likely, these games can go for a long time. Like there's like an hour long time limit, and because it's tug of war,
It's
it can go back and forth. And
it
I
yeah
think there's even like
it's
overtime that can happen. I think I I don't think you got there,
uh
but I think you were saying that
I
like
don't
I don't know. I'm
uh
probably wrong, but anyway, yeah. There was one
yeah
game that we played that was like 50 minutes, and we ended up losing because they ended up with tanks, and we had no tanks.
yeah
And turns out you want tanks.
yeah they're really really good.
Yeah.
um but no the longest game that I've ever had in there was like an hour and 35 minutes or something. Um, and I think because I remember like before we won, we were really running out of time. Like we
Mm-hmm.
had maybe 3 to 5 minutes left. So if I had to guess, the total like time cap on the game mode would be like an hour and 40, hour 45 maybe. So,
Oh man. And I thought like a game of escalation that lasts like 40 minutes and Gears is the long game.
right?
Holy Jesus. All right. Yeah. That's crazy. That is absolutely insane.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, and they have a new game mode out now. That's Squad Conquest. It's just like a small team conquest. That's two squads on each team. So
I'm
you'd
down.
probably enjoy it.
I mean, look, man. I might be in. I might be in. Who knows? Okay.
All right, what else did you want to
Let's
talk about?
see. Tim says we've all played League. We know long games, and that is not true. Ben has not played League. Ben's a hater. Or you tried.
I've
You
played like one or two games, and now
he created an
I
account, played
literally
through the tutorial, and then like two bot games.
well yeah, but now I literally cannot install it on my computer because I
Oh,
try
that's
and it
right. That's right.
fails
Yeah.
every time.
Yeah, that's right.
My computer was like, "No, you're bad at this. You're not
Yeah.
allowed. We're blocking you for life."
Yeah, I do remember. I do remember that he did try to reinstall it, or like it was broken for you, and then like you tried to reinstall it,
Yeah.
and it didn't work. I remember that now. I still don't believe you. I think you were bad and you didn't want to play it.
I mean,
It's all right.
you're not wrong about that, but I wouldn't lie about that.
Yeah. But no, I think that's pretty much all I have. If anyone has any questions in the chat, now's the time to ask them before we terminate this. We're coming up on we're coming up on 46 minutes of podcasting.
Woo.
And again, no editing. Oh my god, it's lovely.
Yeah, no 12-hour render times for me anymore.
Yeah, that was great. I still think that we should have like when we had the opportunity, you should have just like handed me off a file and I render it. Probably would have been shorter.
Yeah, probably.
Steve says Stormcloaks are Imperials.
Oof. Um, I'm going to be honest. I've started many a game in Skyrim. Assuming that's what you're talking about here. Uh, and I've only ever like gotten to the Civil War part of the game once, and I was sided with the Imperials at that time. But fun fact, there's a bug where if you enter a very specific tomb before you get to that quest, it then bugs the entrance of the tomb. So like you can't complete the quest while you're in there because it's like a specific instance thing. But then once you leave, you can't go back in. So I've never completed the Civil War storyline in Skyrim.
Hmm.
But
Well, what would you
I,
choose? Or do you have to go through the storyline in order to really know?
I mean, it kind of depends. It's sort of one of those like gray moral area type of things
Yeah.
because the Imperials are all about like, help us like, band together as an empire and fight off the Aldmeri Dominion.
Mm-hmm.
And the Stormcloaks are basically like, fuck no, this is our homeland, get out.
All right.
So it's kind of one of those like, well, I mean, technically, siding with the Imperials means that you're going against essentially the will of your nation, if you will.
Gotcha.
Um, but then siding with the Stormcloaks is essentially damning your people to suffer at the hands of the Aldmeri Dominion.
Yeah.
So you can either betray your country or betray your country. Just depends.
All right. Well, as someone who hasn't played, I'm gonna go with the Imperials because fuck you guys. I don't know. Tim tried to type out a comment, messed it up a couple times. I think he says, "Yeah, I stopped before I completed Civil War 2."
Yeah.
He blames the YouTube app on his phone.
Uh-huh. Sure, Tim.
Okay, Tim. All right. Well, I think that is going to wrap things up for us here on this 81st episode of the Couchcast. Um, yeah, thank you guys for coming out. We have a fifth person now watching, and they're gonna see this wonderful intro. If you want to catch up on the full thing, the rebroadcast will be available sometime tomorrow for your viewing and listening pleasure as you
Yeah.
listen to our soft, silky voices.
Watch it, pass it around to all your friends, burn it to a CD and listen to it as you go to sleep. All that kind of stuff.
Burn it to a CD.
Yeah.
If anyone burns this to a CD, and I don't know what I'll do because I don't want to be like I'll pay you $20 because that might be worth it to you, and I don't want to give you $20. You'll have a special place in my heart, and I will find some way to reward you if you take the time to burn the podcast to a CD and listen to it while you go to sleep, as
But
opposed
we
to
have to
just
have
listening to it on your phone while you go to sleep.
because then that uses cell phone battery and we all know that nobody plugs in their phone at night. So
Well, you
you
can't
gotta
with the new iPhones with only the charging and the with no headphone jack.
I mean it has
Yeah.
speakers, so
It does have that. You can also do wireless charging. There's options that you can get to before burning a CD, which requires a disk drive. I don't know anyone who actually has. You have a disk drive.
I do.
I think Tim has one, so Tim can get on this. Um, Tim wants me to stream chess.
Have fun with that.
Tim, there might be a chess stream, but I might have to. I have to eat lunch. I'm hungry.
Lies.
Yeah, lunch at 11. Late breakfast, brunch, if you will. Anyway,
What are you, some fucking millennial?
I am actually. Thank you for noticing.
Fucking you just go eat your goddamn avocado toast and leave me alone.
That does sound good though. But I've never had it.
Sure. Why not?
I mean, avocados.
I've never had it.
Okay.
I don't like avocados.
This is probably the farthest we've gone off topic, and we're just trying to end the fucking podcast. So, anyway, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next time on Split Couch Games.
Bye.
Fucking burn it to a CD. What are you doing? Who are you? Oh
I'm
my god.
Ben. That's who I am. I'm dating myself in terms of age. This is where we've gone.
Oh my god.